Today, we are summarizing our thoughts on marriage this year and what we have learned. It has certainly been a weird year for all of us and extremely challenging for some of us. Please be aware that we're actually recording this in October. So if the mood feels slightly off or if we don't address anything major that happened at the end of 2020, that is why. Right now, we are enjoying fall weather and buying pumpkins and all of that fun stuff. As you can imagine, we have to be ahead on recording for the effectiveness of our ministry team. But here is what we know: God is faithful and He works in and through our planning and scheduling. Dr. Kim and I pray before every episode, and we believe that He moves to guide our hearts and our words to help you to draw near to God and to build an awesome marriage. And so, even though we're recording this in October, we're going to recap the 2020 that has been present so far, and it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, it's kind of like I hope it changes some,
Yeah.
but it may not, And plus, Christina's going to Bermuda or somewhere that last week, so we couldn't record. So I don't know.
Nonsense. I'm not going to Bermuda. That sounds amazing, though.
Yeah, it does. I picked some more good.
Yeah, you did pick somewhere good. Maybe it's a prophecy. Maybe I will go to Bermuda.
Dylan
I just don't know it yet.
Right, you'll look in your Christmas stocking, and Dylan's put a trip to Bermuda.
Sign me up. That sounds
okay.
Great.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Kim, what were the biggest challenges in your own marriage this year?
I think just that so many things were different, just in general. We were talking, I've talked to so many people, it's just like what happened to the last 6 months, 8 months, even, dating back to March. It just seems like it's all the same. We didn't celebrate Easter. We didn't do the things that we usually do in the summer. We haven't celebrated birthdays together as a family. So I think those so different. And how do we handle those differences? I think that those are challenges a lot of time. Easter, I usually put out like 200 eggs for the kids to do it in the little park in front of us and stuff like that. So, I'm up 6 a.m. and I'm going to their houses and leaving eggs on the front porch, and so if Easter was different, we didn't get together as a family, do those things. So, I think all that affects us, and how do you adjust to that and being flexible through that? I think the first part of COVID, when we really didn't know what was going on, not that we still do know a whole lot, but being away from family and friends was tough. That distance. The first time a friend of ours on a Sunday night called and said, "Hey, what if I get 2 other couples that we're friends with together? Let's just do a Zoom call together." And we thought, oh my gosh, that would be so cool. And of course, then everybody started doing Zoom calls, but it's a way, it was so nice to just connect with people. And then I think, we had some things that were planned that we looked forward to, some trips and stuff like that. They got canceled. And so, you've got to adjust and just acceptance, I guess. I think a lot of it for us is saying, just accepting this is different. It didn't do any good to get mad about it. It didn't get it frustrated. Get it a little bit frustrated, but to work through that and get out of it, because it was going to be different, accepting it's different, and try to make some good out of it. What can we do good in this? I don't want to waste 2020.
Yeah, definitely.
So those are kind of things I think.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to a lot of that. I think probably the hardest thing on our specific marriage was, like you said, COVID related, of just like not getting an opportunity to miss each other because of no travel. So Dylan and I spent more time together this year than we ever have in any year of our marriage. And not that Dylan travels a ton, but usually every like 2 to 3 months, he'd be gone for at least an overnight to do something with Acts 29, our church planning network, or another church conference, or just something work related that would make him go away, which would make me miss him and him miss me. And with that, just also getting stuck in the mundane because we don't know what to look forward to because so much was canceled. And so it's just hard. And then I think on top of that, just like so much disappointment and like small things, like, we were really blessed that this didn't, like, none of us experienced a job loss or anything like major. None of our family got sick or anything like that. And so we were really, really blessed throughout all of this. I know not everybody can say that that's the case for them. Most people experience a lot more tragedy than we did throughout all of this, but we did experience a lot of disappointment, especially when it comes to church things. We tried really hard to be faithful, and our church was growing, and we had just moved into a new building. And 2 weeks after we moved into this new building that's 3 times as expensive as our old space, COVID came and shut us down for 3 months. And so it's just hard and disappointing. And our church still is half of what it used to be. And I don't know that all of those people are coming back. And so it's just disappointing. Like, you feel like you've worked really hard and built into something. And so, he's been really disappointed. I've been really disappointed. We've just been walking through that grief together.
Yeah, yeah, I think it came to us all, probably to me, clearer than it ever has that we have no control over anything.
Mhm.
And I think you either turn to God and you say, okay, but you do, or you just panic, you know, because we have very little control. You can control all those things. You guys do all this work, done so great, had this church just growing, new building. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you have to close for 3 months.
Mm.
Really? Well,
Mhm.
that's not really what we had planned,
Yeah, definitely.
you know?
But I think even in that, like, not that this always works for everybody in every situation. Sometimes you do just need to sit in the grief. But for a lot of situations, you can just remind yourself of God's faithfulness. So for every disappointment, really, like God has been very faithful to New City Church and to our family. And so I can look at the positives of that. People are still faithfully giving, even though, half the people are showing up on Sundays. And so there are some things that we have to remember to shift our perspective.
Yeah, and I think there are. We're going to look back and see a lot of good things. You know, Life Church's church online platform that they've given away to thousands of church. The churches wouldn't have made the effort to do that. I think they can use that in great ways going forward in their communities and their churches. So I think we're going to see some things that maybe we did because we were challenged, and and we're pretty innovative, and so, to me, a lot of things that we couldn't do was a challenge. Okay, what can we do? And filtering through and looking at that. So I think I definitely grew and learned some things through this.
Yeah.
They're just the stuff we do with Awesome Marriage with online retreats that
Mhm.
we probably wouldn't have done otherwise,
Mhm.
and we're able to minister people in ways that we wouldn't otherwise. And so I think as we look back, we're going to see some really, oh yeah, that was I hated that year, but boy, that was really good.
Yeah.
God really was still working.
Yeah, he is always moving, that is true.